Guys, welcome back to not one, but two training sessions in this week's Sell the Future podcast. Today, we are going to cover off, let me think about it, best way to deal with this. And if you don't address it, you can kiss your deal goodbye. And a session on closing in the SMB space. There are several stages to closing, so I'm going to split this one up into two parts. Part two will be next week, so make sure you subscribe now so you don't miss it. But today I'm going to walk you through part one, which is exactly how to close your prospect and get commitment to signature within a certain time frame. You will not want to miss that. But first, you run the perfect meeting, build great rapport along the way, and then you're hit with, let me think about it. Catches you off guard, right? From your point of view, everything was going fine. We were heading nicely and seamlessly towards a contract out and a signed deal. So what went wrong? And how are you dealing with this currently? If it's, yeah, sounds good to me, shall we pick this up next week, say Tuesday? Then you're about to waste a ton of time chasing up, or you're going to get ghosted. Guys, here's how you want to deal with this going forward. Step one, name the frame shift. What do I mean by that? Here's an example. Totally get that. From my experience, typically when people say that, it's usually one of two things. Either I haven't done my job properly, or there's something we've covered today that's causing you a concern. That'd be fair to say. The frame has shifted. Everything was going well, and then suddenly you've been hit with an objection. It seems like a roadblock, right? So what we're going to do, we're going to name it, right? And we're going to address it. From my experience, typically when people say that, it's one of two things. Which one is it? Yeah? That's how we want to go down to it. Either I haven't done my bit properly, or you actually have a concern. Would that be fair to say? Now, they might not give you the right answer right there and then. I might go, well, it's a lot to digest. I just want to think about it. Cool. Absolutely fine. You then want to follow up with it. Is there a specific part you need to focus on and think through? Pressure test them. And you can preface that and make it softer, right? So look, makes sense. Totally makes sense. Is there a specific part that you're actually focused on right now, or that you think you might just need that extra bit of time to think through? Great question. So name the frame shift. Why this works. You're calmly naming the shift without resistance. That's the whole point of this, right? We don't want to resist. We don't go, well, what the hell do you need to think about? Right? Which is what we actually want to say. You're acknowledging the power change here. Yeah, you were in control. You were showing them the demo. You were showing them the platform, and everything was going nicely. And then suddenly, okay, cool. Take a step back. I need to think about it. I'll come back to you, basically is what they're saying. So you're acknowledging that, but you're then steering the conversation back to a productive question and trying to address the actual problem. Now, remember what I said. Don't be going, yeah, sure, makes sense. Shall I follow up next week? They're going to ghost you, and you've missed your opportunity to find out there and then what their concern is. Because if the solution, or if your product solves or provides a solution to their problem, what do they need to think about? Step two, you want to add a micro commitment. Very small, doesn't have to be big. Let's do this. I'll give you space to think. But before I go, can I ask, if you were to move forward, what would the first 30 days look like for you? Why are we asking this? Why are we asking this? Now, okay, what that firstly does is it respects their need to think, but it forces them to re-engage with the vision of buying. That's why we're doing it, right? We want to keep them in the space of, you've got a problem though still that you need to address. I know you want to think about it, but just imagine if that problem's gone away tomorrow. From tomorrow, what does the next month look like? What do the next 60 days look like, right? You're keeping them engaged with the vision of buying and investing in your software. It's subtle, but powerful. You're basically trying to get a small yes in disguise. And then we're going to go step three, using the walk away close. How do we use the walk away close? Now, if they're doubling down on, look, I need time to think about it, they're not giving you much information, Neil, I'll get back to you. Totally fair. Again, in my experience, when people tend to double down, it's often just a polite way to say no. And that's totally fine by me. I'd rather have clarity than keep chasing. So should we just part ways now? Pause. That's where the power lives. deliver this, inflect down. I'd rather have clarity than keep chasing. So should we just part ways now? You're inflecting down, you're projecting confidence, and then the pause is where the power dynamic shifts back to you. Because what you'll notice is you'll see so many people suddenly don't want to end that call. Why? Because you flipped the power dynamic, as I just said. You became unattached, and that creates tension. Guys, this is one of the most powerful moves in sales, walking away confidently. It's human nature, psychology. When you take something off the table, people typically will go, hold on. Before you take that away, they're now back in the room. They're back. They lean back in because that's just human nature. You take something away when they weren't expecting it. They want to be in control and say, actually, let me think about it. I'll take away when I'm ready. You go, you know what? Typically this means usually it's a no. No problem at all. Totally fine by me. Let's just part ways. Take it off the table. Watch how suddenly many more people lean in. So guys, let's recap. 3 steps. Step 1, name the frame shift. Yep. You want to address it. Totally get that. From my experience, usually one of 2 things when I hear that. Either I haven't done my bit properly, or you have a slight concern about something we've covered today. Would that be fair for me to say? Yes, no, indifferent. Makes sense. Is there a specific part that you need to focus on? Maybe I can help shed some light on it now for you whilst we're on a call. You do that calmly. You name the shift without resistance. That is the key, because it's going to catch you off guard, right? And your normal reaction is to pull back, defense up. What's going on here? You kind of go through the motions. And typically when you approach that, you need to approach it without resistance. But the problem I'm seeing is that most reps go to, yeah, sure. And they accept it. I'll give you time to think. Makes sense. We've covered a lot. Shall I follow up with you next week, say Tuesday? That is not how to deal with let me think about it. You need to pressure test them. What exactly do they need to think about? You need to find a nice, easy, calm way of saying that without getting your prospects back up. Give them 2 options. Usually it means one of 2 things. Either I've not done my bit properly, in which case I apologize. I'm happy to go over it again. Or there's something that we've covered today that's causing you a slight bit of concern. Which one is it? And get them to open up. At least you're taking your shot and trying to get them to open up. So that's step 1. Name the frame shift, however you want to put it across. I've given you some options there. Get some words together, get a talk track together until it feels comfortable coming from you. You don't have to sound exactly like me. Step 2, micro commitment. Yeah, absolutely fine. Look, I'll give you some space to think. But before I go, can I ask you one thing? If you were to move forward, what would the first 30 days look like for you? Again, you're respecting their time and their need to think, but you're also keeping them in the room. You're keeping them in the vision. You're keeping them in that space between current state, you've got a problem, future state. What does that future state look like? You're keeping them within that buying process and that buying vision. This step is super important. They're all super important. And then step 3, the walk away close. If they're doubling down, no problem, call it out. Look, again, in my experience, typically when I hear that, it's usually a polite way to say no. If that is the case here, tell me. You won't offend me. I'm more than happy to part ways. In fact, do you think it's best we just part ways now? Or that's fine by me. I'd rather have the clarity than keep chasing and annoying you. Should we just part ways now? A couple of different options there again, but it allows you to walk away with confidence. And don't forget, when you've delivered that, pause, inflect down at the end if you can, project confidence, pause, watch that power dynamic shift back to you. And guys, I've got a ton of these. I've actually built out a whole objection handling masterclass for you guys. So if it's something that you're struggling with right now, you get on meetings, or even if you're an SDR and you get on a call and you're hit with objections, my masterclass will cover off every single objection you can think of. And they've all been put together personally by me. I'll give you a complete breakdown from start to finish. Link is in the description below. It's 50% off for the first 50 buyers. Don't miss out. Click on the link and get hold of your copy now. Now, guys, you've gone through your discovery, run your demo. You've clearly demonstrated that the product solves their pain point. Prospect is engaged. So what do you do next? In the SMB space, having your closing routine down to a T is key, even more so than in the mid-market and enterprise space where the sales cycles are a bit longer. In the SMB space, we're in the business of short sales cycles. And that means we need to be at our sharpest at the back end of the meeting, especially when delivering pricing. The closing is made up of several layers, guys. There's pre-closing, which will include objection handling. There's negotiation, commitment, contract out, actual signature. Remember, the deal is never done until it's done. Contract out is never cause for celebration. I see this all the time on sales floors. Got a contract out. Oh yeah, well done, amazing. No, you only celebrate when the contract is signed and back in your DocuSign and you've got the notification. So let's kick this off with how we're going to cover pricing. Part 1, the value check. The goal here is to isolate the only remaining variable, and that's price. You've done the demo, you know the next step is pricing, but what you don't want to do is fall into the price trap, right? When a prospect asks, or even if it's the next step, they ask about pricing, we need to cover off any other concerns first. How do we do that? Great question. Before we move on to commercials, is there anything else outstanding from a product viewpoint, or are we good to go? Why is this so important? You don't just go into pricing without a checkpoint. Checking in with the prospect. Either they've asked for pricing or you want to show them pricing because that's your next step as part of your demo. But you want to stop there and just check. I'm going to deliver pricing for you. Before I do that, though, based on what you told me at the start of this call, it looks to me like we're ticking boxes here from a product standpoint. Is there anything else outstanding for you that I haven't covered that you'd like me to cover off from a product viewpoint? Only when you get confirmation from your prospect, who's, again, don't forget, super engaged, everything's going well, we're now going to guide them through pricing, get the green light first. We're good to go, Neil. Great. Let me show you pricing. Remember, the last thing you want to do is get into negotiations around commercials, and at the 11th hour, there's something still outstanding from a product standpoint. Because once you start going into commercials and you guide them through to contract and negotiations and contract, you can't then switch back to, but we just need to cover off something about the product. Well, what are we talking about here? You're not happy with the product yet, and we've negotiated and we're about to send a contract out. So remember, this is why you do this. You do not want to start negotiating and talking commercials when you haven't cleared the fact that the product is completely the right solution for your prospects and they're completely bought in. Step 2, the anchor and choice close. Control the negotiation by providing options and then anchoring the value. What do we mean by that? You want to present the options. Great. Based on everything we've discussed today, we have 3 investment options available for you. Option A gives you X, Y, and Z, and that's at X price point. Option B gives you X, Y, and Z, but also includes A, B, and C for the problem that you told me about previously at the start of this call. That is at Y price point. And then option C is our full suite. This is at price point Z. Based on our meetings today and everything we've covered off, my personal recommendation would be option B, as it ticks X, Y, and Z box for you. But curious to learn where you think you might fit in best. Pause. Let them speak. Now, we've delivered the options. You've got 3 options. You've then run through each individual option or package, what it involves, what the price is. Option 2, what it involves, what the price is. And option 3, what it involves and what the price is. Based on what we've covered today, my personal recommendation would be that you probably sit somewhere between option 1 and 2, but curious to know where you think you fit in best. You now shift the decision onto them. And you're going to stay quiet, because what you're going to get now is their thoughts. They might agree with you. Yeah, I'll fit in with, I'll probably agree, Neil, fit in with option B. They might have some questions. They might have some objections. You're going to deal with that. So option B, just so I'm clear, that comes with X and Y and Z. Yes, it does. It comes with X, Y, and Z, which helps you solve problem A, B, C. You want to let them talk here. Okay. Let them exhaust through all of their thoughts, because their first thought or first objection typically won't be the real objection. You've just presented them with quite a lot of information. Let them digest it. They'll start asking questions. And when you hear an objection, for example, that's more than we budgeted. I hear that. What else? Notice we don't go into trying to combat that objection. Well, we could do this and that and provide X, Y, and Z solution. No. Yeah, I hear you. All right. What else? Well, I don't know if we should roll it out, part one of the team or one part of the team and then roll it out across the business. I hear you. What else? Keep using the I hear that, what else method until you reach the final objection, which is going to be price. You've now confirmed you're dealing with the actual final objection, which, as we know, is going to be price. Why? Because they've not got any problems with the product. They've just confirmed that with you before you went into pricing. We're great from a product standpoint. We're good to go, Neil. Show me the pricing. Great. Okay. So here's the pricing. And it's in everyone's, what everyone's instinct is what? Oh, seems a bit pricey, that. Seems a bit steep. Anything you can do on the price. It's just a natural reaction, isn't it? Either they're incentivized by the business or they're going to naturally react to the price and try and get a discount. It's just typically what happens in life. It could be half the price and you'll still face that price objection. If you're ticking all the other boxes you've just confirmed with them, you're still going to be facing the price objection. Okay, great. But we've isolated the price. What is our goal now? It's to stop wild and outlandish asks by keeping the prospect within your defined framework of concessions. How do we do that? Here's a talk track you can use. Well, as discussed, these are our investment options at list price, but for full transparency, Mr. or Mrs. Prospect, there are 3 levers you can pull here to get to a comfortable spot pricing wise. Please note though, outside of this, the price is firm. Number 1, contract length. Happy to run a minimum 12-month contract, but if you're open to a 24 or 36-month term, you'll get a bigger discount. Same with payment terms. Again, happy to split this up for you biannually or quarterly. However, if you're able to pay up front, you'll get a bigger discount. And the third, and by far the biggest lever you can pull here, is speed to signature. We're a velocity-driven business. So what that means is outside of maintaining and advancing our product, myself and the rest of my sales team are the biggest expense to the business. So if we can speed up a sales cycle, we make a significant saving, big part of which we're happy to pass on to you as a thank you for working with us on this. So my question back to you would be, if we can hit the right price today with the right terms, would it be crazy to get something signed by close of play tomorrow, end of the week, end of the month? Choose the appropriate timeline in relation to your deal. So let's run through that again. Well, as discussed, these are our investment options at list price, but for full transparency, there are some levers you can pull here to get to a more comfortable spot pricing wise. Just want you to be aware though, outside of this, the price is firm. So one of the levers you can pull here is contract length. Happy to do a 12-month minimum contract. However, if you're good to engage in a 24-month or 36-month, a longer term contract with us, we'll reward you with a bigger discount. Same with payment terms. Again, happy to split it up biannually or quarterly. But if you're okay to pay up front, you'll get a bigger discount. And the third lever, and by far the biggest one that you can pull here, is speed to signature. Mr. Prospect, we are a velocity-driven business, as you know. That means that outside of maintaining our product, the biggest expense to the business right now is myself and the rest of my team. If we can shorten up those sales cycles, we make a huge saving, part of which we're happy to pass on to you as a discount, as a thank you for working with us on this. So my question back to you would be, if we can hit the right price mark today with the right payment terms, would it be crazy to get something signed by close of play tomorrow and then wait for their response, right? Because their response to your would it be crazy question will tell you if there's anything else that needs doing or if they're good to go. You'll find out exactly what needs to be done for sign off. Either they go, no, it's not crazy, in which case you move forward with options. We're going to cover this next week, so make sure you tune in. Or they say, yeah, well, that would be crazy, Neil, because John in finance needs to know about this. We need to make him aware and he's off for the rest of the week. Or I need to update Sarah in legal that we're doing this. Then you know what's still outstanding before you can get the deal done. Either way, you know where you stand. Now, guys, feel free to use different levers there, but don't change the speed to velocity. That's how you create the urgency, and that's how you actually then justify the discount, right? If you're able to shorten up our sales cycle, it means we can run more sales cycles in that time, and we're happy to reward you with a discount. I would personally suggest sticking to those three: contract length, payment terms, and speed to sign off. But again, make it as applicable as you can to your own product. Make sure you have three. The importance of three is massive, and the psychology behind it is huge. We're going to go into that on next week's pod as well. So again, if you want to know more about that, make sure you tune in. So there you have it. I hope that was useful. I want you to put it into action. But once they say, no, it's not crazy, what do you do next? As I said, tune in next week to find out how you go from commitment to signature to closed one, signed contract, commission in your next paycheck, onto the next deal. Best way to make sure you don't miss that is to hit subscribe now. Guys, that is it for this week's Sell the Future podcast. As I said, if you haven't already, please do like it. It does help me reach more people. I would appreciate it massively. Plus, it means you won't miss any of the upcoming videos. And if you want to see more of me right now, because you can't get enough of the SaaS Sales Misfit, click on the video right here, and I'll see you guys in there.